Hi, I'm Randy Altman with Postproduction. We're here at SMPTE 2019. This is Josh Rizzo. And Josh was here with me a year ago talking about eSports. So he's going to give us a bit of an update about what's gone on, how it's progressed, and how it's going to affect our industry.
Whenever we have conversations about eSports, one of the analogies we use is no one owns basketball, no one owns football in the way that you and I could start playing the game and form a league, and if we were good enough at it, get air rights, and that would be our business.
And make tons of money.
And make tons of money and be wildly successful. One of the important differences to set the stage here of kind of the state of the state is that the game publishers own the game. Like the way the NFL owns the rights to the NFL. Like, you can't air any clips, you have to get permission, and they're very strict about it. The publishers see esports, I think right now, as marketing. You can think of it as marketing spend. So when a A-level publisher, like I think Epic is Fortnite, or Blizzard, Activision, when they put on a tournament and do what we would call an event production in a stadium with the cameras and all that wonderful stuff, that budgetarily is more marketing. So whereas in traditional sports, it's not marketing. Maybe advertising may help pay for it, but where the money comes from is a little bit different. And that's important because it informs where the opportunities are for either content creators or vendors, manufacturers in the space. Because it's kind of a marketing spend, the big events are fewer and far between, and their budgets are smaller than a traditional sporting event. It might even be smaller than like college, definitely smaller than college sports. Part of the reason is they don't happen as frequently, right? So with a lot of these sporting events, it's 3 days a week or 2 days a week or once a weekend. Like there's a regular cycle to it. The esports happen maybe once a quarter, once a month, that it's going to hit that level. So that's one way in which it's different. There's not a lot of outside brand investment. There are attempts, and you get your energy drinks, Monster energy drinks. They advertise in there. A lot of junk food and things like that advertise in there. But they're playing to their demographic of the young. I mean, some of these people are very young. They're 12, 13 years old up until their mid-20s. Generally, is the demographic that the advertisers are looking for. So they don't have a lot of money to spend. So there might be some hardware manufacturers. There might be some cell phone manufacturers, but there's not a lot of external advertising investment from sponsors. So that's another thing that's a little bit different. Again, in more athletic sports, you get sponsors are lining up to get their names plastered over everything. And again, it's a little bit different with esports.
So they're not like targeting the kids' parents with advertising?
Not really, no, because the kids' parents don't watch the content.
It's live events. People are watching it live, but are they also packaging it for people to watch them after? So how much post-production goes into it?
There's a fair amount of post-production. Companies like, all of them for the most part have learned that attached media, the behind the scenes, the what we would call, what HBO made famous was like the boxing after dark, right? The in the personal journey. Those stories are still interesting for esports fans to know how their idol, who they love, what their arc was, where they got to achieve the greatness that they have. So that's still very, very interesting. And there are still a lot of, I call that attached media from a distribution standpoint, but there's still a lot of those productions that go on. They're usually, it depends on the publisher, but again, it's done for marketing. It's really not done for its own sake. So the dollars that come into that are earmarked, again, from a marketing perspective, because what that does is it gains more interest into the playing of the game, which is where the publishers actually make their money.
Gotcha. So what about, in terms of the media and entertainment industry, they have all these new events that they have to put trailers and people at and cameras and staff up and load up with gear. So in that sense, has that been a boon to the industry? Again,
because they're so infrequent as compared to athletic sports, I don't think it's been a boon. It is, if you're in that truck, in the truck business, I'm sure you have additional jobs and gigs to do. I think the opportunities are, from a manufacturer standpoint, the productions are still using traditional signal flow. They're using SDI cables, they're using Ethernet switches, they're using traditional broadcast parts, just a lot of them. So that's one of the challenges that people have told me, is that they're dealing with 120, 150 or more inputs on a live Battle Royale event. Part of that challenge is a lot of the Battle Royale style games, which are your Fortnites and PUBGs, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, the players are distributed over a geographic area, so they're using their own live stream software to broadcast in, then convert that to a baseband, more broadcast-like signal, then put through traditional routing with the traditional technical director, graphics department. Analytics are coming in from the individuals wherever they are throughout the country or the world, depending on the game, and that's how that's done. That's for that kind of game. There are games that are you'd call more traditional arena games, where all the players are in one space, and you have like red versus blue on opposite sides of the stage. There's still a lot of inputs there as well. So the challenges become one of connectivity, and everyone that I've talked to says it's a massive amount of connections and massive amount of data to process to produce one live outbound feed.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Again, because of the nature of esports is that individuals play it at home. So if you and I try to form our own Fortnite league as a corporation, as an LLC, we could reach a certain amount of success before, and maybe Epic wouldn't do this, before the publisher would come knocking and say, "You've done well, now pay us a license fee," right? So that's a dynamic that a lot of independent-minded people don't even think about. And that's where the opportunity is on some level for products as well, is that those streamers that want to have that knock. That means that they've arrived at a certain amount of success, and that means they're generating enough income to be of interest to the publisher. They need tools. They need mixers, audio gear, camera gear, green screen compositing, because they put themselves in there. They need software. They need tools to do that. And they're always looking for the next best thing to get an edge over another streamer to be able to produce more quickly. Same analogy that we have in no matter the scale of the production, you want to produce more with less. So there's opportunity, but it's more in the prosumer, consumer end than it is in the high end. Like there's manufacturers out there that want to sell, for when I talk about 100 switchable endpoints, they want to sell routers for that. You're not going to sell that many, because those big events are few and far between.
Right.
But there's millions of people who spend their own income on the software and the hardware tools to produce their own independent content, to try to chase that dream of becoming a streamer, making money, and then signing a sponsorship deal and doing things like that. So, and I think it's very polarized between the very high end, few and far between, the very low end, very broad but very low income.
Josh, thank you for coming and sharing your wisdom about esports, and hopefully we'll see you next year talking about the same thing.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Josh Rizzo, Randy Altman, SMPTE 2019.